This is my own Neckbeard story. I am a nerdy guy myself. I like anime card games and all that shit. But after marriage and a son, I sadly had to leave all that and get to work. Luckily, I'm a programmer and crashed on this office full of really nice people that share my interests, sort of. One of them is Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to play it, but as I said earlier, as I became a family guy, I had to leave it. One day, I saw two of my coworkers looking at cards on their phones, and I had to ask, "Hey guys," long story short, they play, and actually were doing preparations for a team event, and they need another player, so they agreed to update me on the new game rules on mechanics, and I agreed to be part of their team. Nothing unusual there. Well, the day came, the event is on, and sadly one of our team members had to pay a 1 to the HR chicks. Well, basically they covered one of his faults one day, and they needed someone extra that Saturday, so he had to pay his debts. Well, we spent like 1 hour looking for a third member. Registration was about to end. We got desperate and went for the first guy that said yes. This guy was a textbook neckbeard. MLP buttons, black t-shirt, greasy hair. His face looked like fucking pepperoni pizza. We are lucky, Konami, but a new rule for smelly players so that the guy had to shower to enter the event, so smell was not a problem. But man, this fucker had attitude. In the first 10 minutes of meeting him, he called our decks trash. He complained that he had to part with 2 amateurs because one wanted to have him on their teams. Gee, I wonder why. Long story short, me and my coworker friend got our asses beat first round. It was fun though. Then we noticed Mr. Neckbeard passed round after round after round. He might be a neckbeard, but fucker was good. And since the prize was going to be divided between team members, even if just one reached the finals, I got to him and told him, "Listen, pal, you are good. Win this shit, and I'll get you anything you want to eat, 5 fucking pizzas, whatever you want." Fair enough. Fucker won the tournament, so since I'm a man of my word, so we got out and went to get his favorite pizza. I did not have my car, so we had been traveling the whole day on the subway. So we head to the station to go to a restaurant, and as I get my Metro card checked on the machine, I noticed it ran out of credits. So I rushed to the other machines to recharge. My friend stood on the station gates as I went with Mr. Neckbeard to the recharge machines. I was asking him about improvements for my deck and gameplay since he knew his game. As we reach the machine, I get my card and my money, and suddenly a girl appears. Excuse me, sir, I forgot my Metro card and I'm in a hurry. Would it be okay if I give you the ride cost and you help me enter the station with yours?" "Sure," I replied. I have done this before many times. Many people forget their cards, and it's a very common thing to do. She gives me the cash, I charge my card, and we all head to the entrance. I pass the card through the machine and she enters. As she walked to their waiting line, she turns back and says, "Thanks." "No problem," I replied. Oh boy, as I finished my sentence, I turned to see Mr. Neckbeard, red as a tomato, and he started yelling at the poor woman. "That's it? Just thanks? You fucking females, man! We're nice to you! We do kind things for you and all we get is a fucking thanks?" I was in shock. I could not believe it. I turned at the girl and made some gestures to tell her to just ignore him. She looked at me and says, "Geez," and went to her bus. I was like, "Dude, chill out." "No, man, I'm tired of this ungrateful females who do everything for them, and they ignore us and go for the fucking jokes and players." He never stopped screaming. I was embarrassed to my core, and my friends were laughing like maniacs. He was screaming so loud that the station security came, and guess what? They were female too. He got even angrier. "Look at this! Do you call this security? I could break this girl with one hand, and they are supposed to protect us!" Then he started rambling about feminism and shit, and things got heated. Next thing I know is the female officers called for backup and got him reduced. We spent the whole night on the station while officers discussed if they were to press charges. I speak to them and told them that he was my friend and was a schizo and shit, and got him out of it. Then we went looking for pizza at 3 a.m. We ended up eating pepperoni pizza and talking shit on some square till dawn as I tried to get him out of that 4chan shit he got on his head. I managed to change one of his 2 beliefs, but nothing to be proud of. I got his number, though. I'm committed to save this bastard from the whole neckbeardness path, as I used to be kind of one myself when I was young. I promised him I was going to make him get a girlfriend by the end of the year. Hope I can help him, though. Wish me luck. Hello everyone, just a little background info before I start the story. First of all, English is not my first language, so forgive me for any dumb spelling mistakes. I'm a 16-year-old girl, about 175 centimeters, 5'9" if my calculations are correct, and kinda beefy. I do competition boxing. This is kind of a long one. The story is a few months old, cannot remember the exact date, and I'm writing it down just now because I'm quarantined and do not have a lot to do. Okay, on with the story. So, since I live in a pretty small city, my mom lets me kind of roam around for a couple of hours during the weekends after lunch to meet my friends, and we play a bit of D&D. I usually take the bus to go to a bar called Glitch, where people meet up to play board games and stuff like that. I was waiting for the bus, and I took my beloved Switch with me because I had recently bought 2 new games, Shantae and Doom 64. As I was sitting on the bench, chilling and booting my console up, this big chunk walks up to me. He looked well over 18. He was a little taller than me. If I had to guess, I would say he was an inch taller. Long black hair tied in a ponytail. No fedora, though. A t-shirt from one of those gambling anime. Kakuri, I think? I know the protagonist, but I never seen it, and cargo shorts. He sat right next to me, and oh boy, had one of the weirdest smells I've ever experienced. The closest thing I would have to describe is a mix of garlic, BO, rubbing alcohol, and vanilla. Since I did not want to be rude or anything, I said hi and went straight back to Doom. He leaned in, watched me play for a bit. I hate when people do that, it makes me very uncomfortable, and said, "Oh, what a pleasure seeing one of your sex partaking in such an honorable activity." Again, did not want to be rude, so I just replied, "Thanks, but I was barely able to finish the tutorial." What happened next was pretty unexpected. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Oh, lady, I don't expect you to be good or anything. Stupid females like you are not capable of understanding the spirit of such games. Allow a knight like me to finish what you have started." And then he tried to grab my wrist to snatch my Switch. At that point, I was extremely uncomfortable, so I freed myself from his greasy touch, packed my Switch, and ran off towards my house. I do recognize it was a very pro-gamer move, but to my defense, he was not very fast. I got home safe. He did not follow me because I ran like a maniac. That day, I opted for staying at home. I told my friends I had a creepy encounter, and they understood. To this day, I've never seen this guy again. I'm perfectly okay with that, though. It was an interesting experience for sure, and I hope it's the last Neckbeard encounter I ever have. For context, I am trans, female to male, but this happened when I was 14 and not fully sure to show my true gender. I also still cosplay as both genders. For names, OP is Yuk, friend is Mia, Neckbeard is Neckbeard. At the time, I had just moved to a town on the American West Coast. I was elated and just starting high school, and the town I live in is big on conventions, parties, etc. I'm a big fan of most fandoms, so at a young age, I got into cosplaying and into conventions. So, in my first month of moving, for my early 15th birthday, my mom got me tickets to a convention in Las Vegas. In driving distance, I was so elated that I decided to freshen up a cosplay I did a few months before. I decided to do Bumblebee, one of my absolute favorite Doom Patrol characters in comics. I finished 2 days before the convention, so I also bought some fake wings and some roller skates to see more flying. Now, I'm a bit overdeveloped for my age. I'm taller, a bit more chesty, which recently I started binding, and I'm curvier, so I can easily pass for around 18 to 19. When the convention started, the guard at the front actually had to double-check my ID to make sure I did not get a kid's pass for the discounts. First day of the convention, I'm super happy and with my mom, who is just as excited as I am. We are there for hours buying shit, watching competitions, and signing panels, and we never once stopped for the bathroom. My mom had to go after a while, but she permitted me to stay in line for a keychain I wanted because of how long the lines were. I agreed and quietly hummed as the line continued. About 4 minutes later, a couple had gotten tired of the long line and walked off. I did not think much of the two moving until my nose was assaulted with a smell, like Doritos that had been boiled down in Axe deodorant and Mountain Dew, left under a porch for 3 months, and then a dog ate and threw it up. It was nasty, and it overpowered the honey perfume I had used that day. It was awkward for 2 minutes. The guy was way too close and was trying to not cry from the scent. That is until I felt 2 hands on my hips. Luckily enough, it was my turn. I quickly bought the keychain and jogged off to an area near the front of the bathrooms to wait. I had taken a few pictures with people, as often cosplayers did that, and I was forgotten about that guy. My mom came out of the bathrooms and we went out to the minor competition I was going to participate in. When we arrived, my mom went to go sit in the audience, and I went off to hang out with a few kids. We had an area for people to take pictures and or to interact with us for more exposure, and in a few minutes, guess what I smelled? The guy who I had smelled before walked up and honestly looked like the basic Neckbeard. He was tall, 6 foot to 6'4", wearing a hoodie with Cheeto dust and soda stains, a black trench coat covered in questionable white stains, some too tight red spandex pants which did not cover his peaking overhang, a bad comb-over, and the all-famous Neckbeard. He stomped over and demanded pictures from every kid after skipping 10 or so people, but when he came over to me, he tried to kiss me for a picture and place his hand under my skirt and on my ass. I freaked out and pushed him away, exclaiming that I was under 15. Instead of being a normal adult who would apologize or back away, he grabbed me by the arm and whispered a bit too close to my neck. "Perfect time to start training you to be my wife." I screamed. Without seeing that, a friend of mine, Mia, had already ran off to get security. Some 16-year-old boys started to wrestle the guy away from me, and a minute or so later, some security and my mom ran in. The guy started to scream, saying stuff like, "Do not separate me from my lolly wife!" Or, "She's my soulmate!" Apparently he had been following me after I left, but did not talk to me until I separated from my mom. He was arrested for assault on a minor, banned from the convention, and I was given a free pass to the convention for all 3 days. I got second place for the competition. I also found out that the guy's sentence of 4 years with probation was tripled because on probation he went to a convention and assaulted another underage cosplayer. Guys, cosplay is not consent.